I'll invite Dr. Charlotte Bedford to the stage, please. She's going to cover Beyond Compliance, training that fosters growth and reciprocity. Also with her will be Sheryl Lewis, Andrew Wood, and Tahu, Huntley. If we can put our hands together for Dr. Charlotte Bedford and her panel.
Is there more than one? I assume it's on. Welcome everyone to the first of two employer panel sessions that we're having at this year's conference. We are a bit short on time as the Minister is due to speak at 2:30, so we're going to keep this panel very short and sweet, Tahu. Very short and sweet. So I'm just going to give a very quick introduction, and then I've got a question for each of the panellists, and I'll actually get them just to introduce themselves when they answer their question, just in case there's anybody in the room who doesn't happen to know these three lovely people. So this session, entitled Beyond Compliance, Training that Fosters Growth and Reciprocity. In the Pacific, reciprocity is a core value woven into the fabric of Pacific societies. It's about nurturing and strengthening relationships, reinforcing social bonds and obligations, and maintaining harmony and interconnectedness. At the heart of the RSE scheme is the relationship between the employer and employee, and reciprocity is a fundamental element of that relationship. So in this session, we're going to discuss reciprocity in the context of RSE worker growth and development. So Tahu, I'm going to get to my very first question. Can you tell us about some of Horticulture's training initiatives and how they foster the growth of individual workers, both while in New Zealand and on the return home?
Yeah, thanks. Tahu Huntley, Hortis. You've thrown me now because I was going to steal some of their time because I've got too much to say and not enough time to say it. So reciprocity is exchanging things for mutual benefit. We all know the benefit that we get from RSE workers coming to us in New Zealand, so I'm not going to talk about that because that's boring. I want to talk about what we do over in the islands. And one of the countries I just want to give a quick shout out to is our Indonesian. So we always talk about the Pacific, which is where my heart is, and deservedly so, but there are other countries in the scheme too that do some awesome things. And our Balinese team go home and do all sorts of cool things. We've got some stuff on the website, so I won't talk about it too much. But one of the things our health and safety environmental team are looking at doing is helping to supply them a pyrolysis machine, which, if anyone knows what it is, probably not. It's a machine that heats material in the absence of oxygen. So what they want to do is do big rubbish cleanups in their home communities, put plastic into this machine, and it creates fuel or biochar for roading and tar and bits and pieces. So that's one of the things. I'm going to rush. I've got 4 things, so just bear with me. Another initiative that we've just started quite recently on our winter intake was, as we all know, health and safety is a big thing out for all of us in the field. And part of that is making sure that our guys are safe, and part of that is making sure that first aid training is one of the things that we do for our field teams. At the moment, we do a lot of that in New Zealand, but we've just started a new initiative, and shout out to Lee, because she's the one over there. She's the one that ran this. We're actually, in order to have some of that money stay in the Pacific, we're getting our guys to do their first aid training before they come here. And we've managed to get that recognised in New Zealand as well. So it means that some of our money is going back over there. So this is Samoa, I didn't say that. In Samoa, people in Samoa are getting the benefit of that money. The training organisations over there are getting the benefit of that money, and New Zealand's getting the benefit in having trained staff come over. The next thing I want to talk about, I'm rushing, sorry, is another initiative that we've been a part of, and that's run by Village to Village Charitable Trust. I think I saw Tracy here today somewhere, if you want to shout out, yep. So we've been a part of a scheme called the Good Pick Fund. Cloudy Bay Wineries did some work on sustainability, and one of the things that they wanted to do was provide RSE workers with interest-free business loans back in the Pacific. And the idea around that would be other businesses and employers would all put money into a pot. And then through NOAA, EIT, shout out to them as well, if we could get some workers going through a program around banking and building a business plan, they would go and talk to village, present their case, and if it was sound, then they would be granted a loan back in the islands. We've recently done a pilot with one of our Nivans. He's from Mumbai, which was evacuated from a volcanic eruption many years ago, 3 or 4 years ago from memory. Everyone's starting to come back, but one of the things that's missing on the island is eggs. They have to import all of their eggs. So Alan Liu, one of our Nivans, presented a case to Village, saying that he wanted to start a chicken farm. All sounded good. They granted them the money. Was still getting there, as far as I know. But that's the first of a really cool pilot that I'd like eventually all employers to get involved with if they can. And then the last thing is we talk a lot about RSE workers going home and starting a business. I think we need to change the narrative a little bit there, because even in New Zealand, we're a first world country. We have all of the resources that the Pacific doesn't have, and 80% of New Zealand businesses fail in the first 2 to 3 years. So how do we expect them to do the same in the islands? So another way that we've sort of been talking about giving back to the islands is through pushing the NPF funds. And I'll do another shout out, I guess. Jamie from Apello and Maddie Gibbs from TVOM. We had a bit of a discussion and we ran a pilot, it was 6 weeks ago roughly, yep, where we got 5 different nations NPF funds on a Teams meeting with their liaison officers helping with translations, and for the whole night we went through 5 different countries, so Tuvalu, Solomons, Samoa, Vanuatu, what was the last one? Fiji. And we welcomed all of our guys over the night. Everyone had their set time slot. But long story short, we ended up with 149 workers all pledging interest and contributing back to MPF. So again, I would encourage any employers, if they were looking to do something similar, we did the pilot for you, so you're welcome. But Maddie and Jamie would be keen to talk to anyone else that was keen to get into that. So time. How was it? Slightly over, all right.
Thank you, Tahu. Some very interesting initiatives. Thank you very much. Andrew, reciprocity between employers and workers goes beyond the workplace. It often extends to relationships with workers' island-based families and communities. Can you share with us some of Ngāi Tukarangi Trust's activities to support RSE workers, including back at home?
Thanks, Charlotte. Tēnā koutou katoa. So I'm Andrew Wood. I'm General Manager at Ngāi Tukarangi Trust. We're across 4 regions in the North Island, based at Mount Maunganui, but we also have orchards in Kirikiri, Gisborne and Hawke's Bay. So we have access to 50 RSEs. We've employed them with various methods, but the most successful method we've got so far has been the iwi to village approach, which has given us the opportunity to be quite unique, being a Māori trust. So we see it as a cultural thing, so we decided our approach would be to adopt a village. So we had a lot of conversations with the Fijian government officials and we brought them completely on board. We went up to Fiji and we chose a village called Nuku, which is 45 minutes up from Pacific Harbour, way up a forestry track. And it's got a secondary school which is fed by about 11 villages that all are situated along the river. So from a Māori trust and a Māori value perspective, that was ideal for us. When the boys come across, they go through our marae, they get a pōwhiri, and then they're immersed into the community, which has worked out really well. We go and visit the village at least once a year, twice a year most years. We pop up there. We started employing from 3 of the villages. We're now up to 7 of the villages. Because we've got so big in that region up there, we have situated ourselves basically around the secondary school, which the 11 villages feed. So our way of giving back really is that we're up there a couple of times a year, as I've said. We've donated generators, we've done scholarships, we donate laptops to the school ducks. We do a lot of work in the primary schools as well with school resources. We go up there, and a key for us is to ensure there's no disruption to their village family time. So it's critical, and talking to some other employers here today, they do that as well. It's critical to us to get up there to meet the kids, meet the partners, meet mum and dad, and also just generally hang out in the village for a day or two and get to know them and understand their values and what's important to them. To ensure we're doing things right, one of the great things that we've done, and there is a photo somewhere coming up, we brought the 5 chiefs across to New Zealand, one of which had never flown in a plane, and he was quite an old guy, so it was a pretty big experience for him. They were there for 3 nights in our village. That guy was actually homesick for 3 nights. He so missed his village, but we brought them back to live in the village with our boys, and to see how we treat the boys and to see the happiness that the boys have working for us. So I guess it's always, to me, been a win-win. And the beauty of our system is as I said, it's the cultural exchange between the iwi and the village back in Fiji. But I'd like to thank the Fijian officials that are in here because they're beautiful to work with. And everything so far has gone fantastic.
Thanks, Andrew. I do have some follow-up questions, but in the interest of time, I'll save those and I will just pass over to Sheryl. Sheryl, Southern Paprika you've got a very unique model in which your RSE workers are housed with permanent staff and with members of the local Kiribati and Tuvaluan communities. I imagine this creates a really supportive environment for your RSE recruits, so we would love to hear more about that model, about how it works and how it supports the wellbeing and development of your workers.
Thanks, Charlotte. Some of you may have heard our little story before. So I'm Sheryl Lewis. I'm the HR manager at Southern Paprika, now known as SPL, up in Warkworth, about an hour north of Auckland. We have 26 hectares of glasshouse and we grow capsicum. So we have a big permanent workforce. Well, I say big, it's 128, it's probably tiny compared to some of you. But about 65% of our permanent staff are from Pacifica, mostly Kiribati, a few from Tuvalu. And when our 48 RSE arrive, that takes us up to 72% of our staff from Pacifica. So back in 2007, when we started off with RSE, we needed 10 people, and lots of our staff were already on work visas, and with RSE coming in, they had to return home and transition to the RSE scheme. This meant their families that were living here in New Zealand all had to return home, and as an RSE worker, they came back, leaving their families behind. But lots of them still had friends and families in Warkworth. They wanted to live with them, so it kind of just naturally evolves that when they came on RSE, they'd stay with their extended family and friends. And in the first season, we needed a few more people, so we shoulder tapped some staff and said, hey, would you like to bring one of your relatives over and they'll stay with you for the season? And they were a little bit reluctant at first, but hesitant. But come second season, we had a list of hosts of permanent staff wanting to bring their relatives over. We had a list of workers wanting to come and stay with our permanent people. And over the 18 seasons, it's just grown and grown. And we now have 40 households accommodating 48 workers. Does get onerous come accommodation self-check time. You'll appreciate that. We go around 40 houses. But the benefits definitely outweigh that. We call it our triple win. So we get the staff we need at the time when we need it. Our RSE workers get to come and work and send money home and do all the great things that they do for their families back home. But our permanent staff also get to keep their links with their home nation. They get to have extended family come and live with them. Our RSE have a lovely, welcoming family atmosphere that they stay in for the 9 months that they're with us. So I think this really helps with our well-being of our RSE. It also builds that reciprocity with the islands back home for the people that are now permanently living in New Zealand. And it's really just an ecosystem that we've created, which works so well for us. Pastoral care is kind of taken care of by our hosts. They give them not only a bed, but they bring them to and from work. They take them to church in the weekends. They get involved with cultural activities. We have an annual Pacifica festival they all get involved with. And they help us also do our recruitment. So they pick who they want to come and live with them. They know the jobs that we've got. They know who's going to be good at them. They also know that there's an onus on them to pick good workers. And so, because they want their friends, their relatives to come year after year. And it helps, you know, when there's some issues, it also helps. They help us with translation, having those courageous conversations with staff to help build performance as well. So it really just works so well. It's so supportive, and we've got a really kind of family atmosphere where all parties involved, our permanent staff, our RSE and us, we all value RSE, we all want it to work, we all work together to make it work, and we want it to live a long time.
We haven't been kicked off the stage yet, so I might just very quickly ask, you're all good, Tahu, ask one more question. The first one is to you, Sheryl, and to Andrew. It's just around some of the challenges that you might have faced in terms of providing training or professional development to workers, and how you've sort of navigated those. It might be lack of access to training that's on offer is not what you want. Just if you've got any comments on those.
So yeah, just quickly, on Orchard we allocate one of our full-time staff to the team, so the teams come over roughly in 10 people, where they have a full-time worker from Ngāi working with them, so they train them up through the skills that we're teaching them, which when we're doing piecemeal work like harvest or winter pruning, encourages them and enables them to earn more money. So we train them through that. We also have a Ngāi Tūkarangi Trust certificate, and we give that out when people have met our standard of workmanship, which they value. Like, yeah, incredible that they value it so much, but they do. And outside of that, the training, we've really struggled to get outside training just to get on board with it, and we're looking forward to opportunities that hopefully Noah's going to present, but we're aware that there's capacity or could be capacity issues. So that's a little bit alarming, and I think it's something we can all brush up on.
Yeah, we've struggled as well to get external training. Finding trainers apparently in our region is really tricky. So we're looking forward to Noah, and hopefully we can make that shift. But we do, as we have bumbled along over 18 years and seen a need, then we try and have a look what's out there and what we could do to support our workers. So different things we've done over the years is quit smoking programs. We've had staff want to learn how to drive a forklift, so no, they're not meant to drive one at work. We've done weekend training courses so that they can get their certificate and then go home and get a job at the ports back in Kiribati when they go home. We have done, on-site vaccination programs, teaching about health. We've done nutrition courses. And this year we're going to be doing a dental hygiene push because we've had staff come with some pretty bad teeth.
And then the final question is for you, Tahu. I'm sure. What can the New Zealand Government and others, training providers and service, other relevant providers, do to better support employers in the RSE worker training space? What support would you like, especially from government?
Well, the world's longest policy review would be nice to be finished. within that, actually, I'm aware there's some skills framework stuff happening in the background, and I think there's a speech tomorrow around that too. So some of what I'm about to say is actually, does look like there's some things happening. But it would be great to see within policy or some kind of frameworks or processes around recognising or enabling employers to be able to recognise some of the skills that our guys have. So what I'm talking about is, and I'll use your little example about driving and things like that, but mainly around sort of leadership and supervisory skills. At the moment, we don't really have a mechanism to recognise them for those skills and to take them home to the islands and be recognised in the islands. So it would be great if NZQA and talk to the relevant Pacific organisations as well around what that looks like, and have some kind of a reciprocal agreement of some sort, so that when the guys do come to us, because trust me, we will sign and tick them off on all sorts of stuff because they are unbelievable. So it would be great if we could do something like that, which, yeah, like I said, I think some of that's hopefully in the works. But yeah, that's probably the one thing that sticks out most.
Well, fine, we'll wrap it up then. That's us. Thank you very much, everybody. We will, we've got leaving plenty of time for the Minister. Thank you.